Damn it, where's my lighter? Sandra reached out from under her comforter, swatting the bed around her. She found her reading glasses, the ones she bought at CVS for $2. Then her hand grabbed the remote for the television, which was still on from last night. This caused her to shift her hips from the side so she could sit up, point the clicker, and turn the damn TV off. Where's my lighter? Her eyesight wasn't so good, even with her glasses. At 75, she felt blessed she could see it all, much less just sit up. Sunlight was filtering in through her casita window shades, and as she checked her nightstand clock for the time, she saw the pack of menthols and the lighter where she must have left them last night. Son of a bitch. She grabbed them, shook out a cigarette, tamped it on the nightstand, and brought them to her ever-plump Negro lips. Only crazy women hire a doctor to take fat from their ass and inject it in their lips, she thought. What's wrong with a little aging? Makes you dignified. Unlike most aging cigarette smokers who end up with moonscape faces and pores big enough to swallow mustard seeds, Sandra's face was smooth, dark chocolate with barely a wrinkle. She'd be the first to tell you that black don't crack, if you hadn't said it or at least thought it first. Next to the bedside clock were the remains of a cheap bottle of wine she bought at the local bodega. The first bottle was lying empty on the floor by her slippers. One long draw on her cigarette, and then she reached for the bottle by the clock and filled the small, empty glass from last night with the last of it. Breakfast of champions, she thought, as she raised the glass to her lips and finished it before returning it to the nightstand. In the years following World War II, her neighborhood in Huntington Park, south of downtown Los Angeles, was considered a step up for many families. Factory workers set up a community there despite train tracks embedded in the streets that led to warehouses and interrupted the flow of traffic. Sandra rented from an old gay white man who had lived there forever, probably the last white man in Huntington Park. His lover, who had gotten crotchety in his old age, was farmed out to the casita in the backyard, and Sandra moved in after he died from an AIDS-related cancer. That was 8 months ago. Sandra moved in with the help of volunteers from the Skid Row shelter that saved her from the streets. With some counseling, they helped her find the casita and a job. Yes, she had a college degree and was bilingual in Spanish and English. The casita had a kitchen, full bathroom, a living room, and a bedroom. As she rose from her bed and entered her kitchen for some water, she shook her head in mild disgust and disbelief over how quickly she had turned this empty space into a cluttered hell. Boxes, stacks of papers, bags of clothes, unopened donations of everything from a toaster to a mega pack of paper towels. I've got 2 hours, she thought to herself, before Kevin gets here to take me to lunch and see her former colleagues. Kevin's text message announcing his arrival was on Sandra's flip phone, just as she finished dressing. Sandra intended on something fresh and imaginative to wear, but instead settled on a black pantsuit and copper-colored polyester blouse that was still on top of a box where she left it 4 weeks ago, after her last day on the job. I'm so glad you could join me for lunch, Sandra. I haven't seen you in weeks. And since I thought you might be going to the community board meeting today, I figured I'd pick you up, take you to lunch before the meeting, so I could get me some Miss Sandra time alone. I missed you, Kevin said. Thank you, darling. I missed you too. They were at Kitchen 254, a new Italian restaurant in the revitalized, but still industrial, downtown LA. Kevin picked it because he heard the ravioli melted in your mouth like butter. And he wanted to treat Sandra to a really nice place. Before he let her look at the menu, he pulled out his cell phone to take her picture. Sandra started to shift nervously at her chair. "Smile, Miss Sandra." Upon command, she began a smile that she quickly hid with her right hand. Kevin was used to the gap from her not being able to afford a replacement set of dentures for the left side of her smile. Whenever he told her a joke, he would see what she was now making her self-conscious. Kevin glared at her a moment to let her know her modesty was unnecessary. In deference, she yielded a broad, closed-mouthed smile and rested her hand in her lap. That picture remains a treasured memento of Miss Sandra. During lunch, Kevin shared he was newly sober and a member of a 12-step program with the hope that Miss Sandra might be interested in learning more. Also, he talked about how his medications were keeping his viral count undetectable for the HIV virus. But he was concerned when Miss Sandra said she was just getting better with adhering to her prescriptions. Kevin reminisced about the day he first met her years ago at a seminar to help people with HIV, both the newly diagnosed and long-term survivors. When an instructor asked Miss Sandra to demonstrate the proper application of a condom on a rubber penis, she did it with her mouth. Lordy, if she was my grandmother, I would have passed out on the spot, Kevin thought. By the end of lunch, they were laughing as if time was no obstacle and friendships could last forever. But that wouldn't be a true story, would it? Thank you. So, as I've been writing these things, and I really get inspired by listening to my colleagues, and especially here in the Coachella Valley, because we have such a variety of artists, and the young people here inspire me so much. They have different rhythms, different energies than I do in my tender age of 54, and it's reinvigorating for me. I've started to learn a little bit more about myself in their eyes, and as I do that, I kind of reflect back in my own childhood, and that's what this next story is about. It's called Little Boy. Little boy, a fresh green leaf struggling to hold on to a branch of a tree that has been whipping in the wind. Does the wind ever end? Those other leaves manage to grow so much larger than me. Or is it just my branch that feels the wind? Little boy, learn so much from television and books, yet can't have a conversation about the evening news or an encyclopedia entry with other little boys. And the adults shoo him away. Why don't you go out and play? Little boy, wearing jeans his grandma bought in the husky department, too fat and slow for anyone's teen. If picked at all, always last. Can't go home too soon. Someone needs his privacy. The fresh air is supposed to be good for me. Grandma's house, father's mother, the place to go when a babysitter's stay is too short when he's away. No school friends here. Mine lived on Park Avenue and Sutton Place, miles away from the same aisle. 3-bedroom apartment, actually. Express bus trip from Manhattan to Co-op City for us. Safe from friends, safe from father. No combination or key to set me free. I looked inward. Not much to find there. I stored facts and figures, trivia and multiplication tables. Love was in a box called memories, when the wind was fresh and the family was younger, perhaps more optimistic. Curiosity was in a story about a little girl who ran away and hid in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Joy was in the faces of dancers on Soul Train. Even anger was external. I heard enough scary fighting outside my bedroom door. I would have to be a corpse to fall asleep, but for the yelling of my father and the screaming of my mother. I stared at that door with its outline framed by the light in the hallway as the noises came closer. Once, my mother burst through my door, crying, clutching me in her arms before my father tore her away, slammed the door, and dragged her down the hall. Somehow I knew she would not try that again. Away with Kay, she can no longer be. Mother, protector, teacher, dreamer, friend, heart. She is gone, and you must stand alone. The air outside was unhealthy. My unathletic legs managed to outrace a bunch of boys who wanted to take my jacket. Unwittingly, Grandma hit the buzzer just in time to let me back into her high-rise. And I popped into the next elevator panting and using my sleeves to wipe the sweat from my brow. I quickly locked the apartment door that she had left open for me and retreated into my uncle's bedroom. He was my father's youngest brother and about 10 years older than me. He was away in Vietnam, flying helicopters, I heard. I searched his room for clues about what being older was like. Not older like my father, because this room reminded me of mine. The bed was a single bed, so creaky people down the hall could tell when you woke up. High school sports trophies on his chest of drawers. He didn't have a desk, though. And Grandma had taken up most of the rest of the space with her church books, an ironing board that served as a shelf for the iron and her magazines. My sole sports trophy came from my being on a day camp baseball team that put me so far away in right field, I was at risk of dehydration and heat stroke. His trophies were several inches high, one maybe taller than a foot. My trophy was no taller than a roll of toilet paper, and sadly was further reduced in significance after it fell off my dresser and dislodged the bat from the ball player's grip. In his top dresser drawer, I found a peculiar pair of underwear. It had a waist strap and some fabric to cover your privates, but the rest of it was some elastic strips. I pulled the whole thing over my jeans, trying to figure out where those straps went. I figured I'd find it amusing today that instead of thinking how unusual and bizarre my uncle's underwear was, I thought they were a turn-on. And that was bizarre. At this point in my life, I was told by others what was good, what was bad, what was beautiful, what was ugly. And before anyone had a chance to tell me otherwise, I decided my uncle's underwear was exciting. Check, check, chick-a-boom. Everybody in the room, gonna get down tonight. Get down tonight. Holler, stomp, get on the floor. Get outside and close the door. Gonna get down tonight. Get down tonight. Don't you see what you've been missing? All this loving, all this kissing. Come on, groove with me. Darling, it's plain to see, you've got to get down. Get down with me. Check, check, chick-a-boom. Reach higher than the moon. Gonna have fun tonight. Have fun tonight. Holler, stomp, get on the floor. Boy, it's you that I adore. Gonna have fun tonight. Have fun tonight. Get in the room, higher than the moon. Get on the floor, it's you I adore. I went to my grandmother 10 years later, a week before she died. I had finished my freshman year at Yale, and instead of going straight to DC, where I had a summer job at a K Street law firm, I stopped at Grand Central Station and took the express bus to Co-op City. Grandma had moved into a smaller one-bedroom apartment on the same floor. But nothing really had changed. Her living room furniture was the same. The TV was now color. And my uncle had come back from the war and got married. I sat across from her and thought, how American was our story? She was born in the Bahamas and immigrated to Miami to work as a nurse. Her son was the first of 6 citizens by birth to graduate from college, and her grandson was visiting her from his Ivy League school, a legacy that would satisfy most anyone. I brushed off her words when she told me she thought her end was near. I wasn't studying to become a doctor, but from my perspective, she was as unchanged as her sofa. A little wear and tear, but useful and sturdy. You might have expected her to start unloading some great family secrets or profound life lessons learned, but revealing her vulnerability brought her closer to me. And I didn't confess or reveal any great personal secrets I'm certain she was already aware of. Those all-seeing eyes in the back of her head. She didn't apologize for her son. In our pact of silence, a contract was formed to hold each other with love and mutual respect. I am forever grateful I got off that train to visit her because her heart still beats within me. Let's go to the riverside. To the riverside we'll go to wash away our sins and hate no more. On to the riverside where the rocky shore can scrub the calluses smoother than before. It'll be the riverside. In the shallow foam, I'll rinse my body to be clean at home. Thank you. I have these. If you like the stories, come see me afterwards. Thanks.